Hello, I'm State Representative John Payne of the 106th District in Dauphin County. Thanks for joining me for this month's V-Clip. In the state legislature, the process of crafting a budget is one of the top priorities. Leading the effort in the House of Representatives is the Appropriations Committee Chairman of the majority party. This person has a responsibility of bringing both Republicans and Democrats together in order to get a spending plan approved in the House of Representatives. Joining me today to discuss how the budget process works is Majority Appropriations Chairman Representative Bill Adolph from Delaware County. Bill, welcome to the program. Thanks very much.
Nice to be here, John. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Just tell our viewers a little bit about how's the the governor gives the budget address, but then the real process starts. Walk us through that process.
Well, it's a slow and a long process, John. When it started, I had a full head of hair, and obviously you can see now what the result was. But I had 1 year experience prior as an appropriations chair, but we were the minority party. And I spent 11 years on the Appropriations Committee, so I had some experience of the process. But when you're the chairman of the majority party, you're like the quarterback of the football team. We had a great team. There's actually 35 members of the Appropriations Committee, which is the largest committee in the Capitol. And it was a well-balanced committee. I made sure there's 21 Republicans, 14 Democrats. I made sure that it was balanced all throughout the state, even amount of number, whether it was from the southeast, northeast, central Pennsylvania, northwest, southwest, made sure that the committee represented all parts of the Commonwealth. I think that was important because, what central Pennsylvania thinks is important, folks from the great Northwest may not. Okay, southeast, northeast, so that was an important factor. But we start out with 3 weeks of public hearings right here in the state capitol, where all the newly appointed secretaries, the governor's entire cabinet, along with the governor, state troopers, state system, state-related universities, come in and they present a budget to us and explain to us why they need that type of money. It was a very long process. As you know, John, the legislature has turned over tremendously in the last 6 years. So half the legislature has less than 5 years of experience. So, but we have a good staff, and we put together a good list of hearings. We had some informational hearings as well. Brought in some outside help to discuss what's going on nationally. And because we're just recovering very, very slowly, probably from the worst recession that this country's ever experienced.
Yeah, certainly the worst one in our lifetime.
No question about it.
No question about that. Well, I think it's important. People sometimes will hear the governor, doesn't matter whether it's Republican or Democratic governor, give the budget address and say, why can't you pass the budget within a week after he gave it? And I remind them that that's what the governor is asking for.
Yes.
That doesn't mean we have the revenue to support that, or that doesn't mean we have the political wherewithal to support some of those programs.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Bill, with the increases in the budget over the last 8 years, tell us just a little bit about the dollar figure and the percent and what really drove us this year to containing those costs.
Well, the growth was unsustainable, John. 44% increase over an 8-year period as compared to the cost of living, about 28%. Loss of federal stimulus money, over $3 billion this past year. So we had to rein in because combination with the recession, our sales tax figures were down, our PIT was down. So we had no choice, or we would have been ended up like they are in Washington. Difference between us and Washington, we have a balanced budget. Some people may not like the way we balance the budget, but it's responsible. And my advantage here, John, is I'm an accountant. I'm a bean counter. So I made sure that our projections are reasonable and sustainable over periods of years. What we did differently than what the governor did, and I think your constituents, I know how important education is to your folks, and whether it's the public school system or whether it's higher education. What we did is we increased what the governor had proposed for higher education and the public school system, and we decreased the appropriations to the Department of Welfare. Despite our decrease, they're still receiving an increase over last year. And that's something in time we're going to take a look at. We hear there's an awful lot of fraud involved in that department, and but we couldn't change it overnight. But we did put a stop to it.
Well, and I can tell you from phone calls and emails in my district, we're going in the right direction. Everybody wants the abuse and the fraud in any area of government to stop.
Absolutely.
And they want us to fund the basic fundamental things that government has to fund and use that tax money in the most discreet measure instead of it's just spend, spend, spend. So credit to our team, credit to you, Bill. Thanks very much. Now, let's just shift gears before we close. In addition to being the Appropriations Chairman and doing all the appropriations hearings and being responsible for putting that package together that the House is going to vote on, you're like me. You're back home in Delaware County. You're a regular state rep. You got to get reelected every other year, like I do. Yeah. You have the same customers, constituents back in your district that have similar problems to mine, especially with the flooding going on.
Sure.
Tell me just quickly as we close what that's like.
Well, John, I probably spend one extra day a week up here as compared to what I did previously. So what that changes, and now my Fridays back home, our office opens up at 7:30 in the morning, and my staff schedules constituent meetings, almost one every half hour, to 7 o'clock on Friday night. And of course, sometimes you have to have a speaking engagement or for lunch or dinner or whatever. But so I kind of crammed in Thursday and Friday, now only into a Friday. But you know, John, as you know, this job is 7 days a week, 24/7. You know, we're not digging ditches or anything like that. But you know, Sunday morning at 11:30, I'm going to be over at the Springfield Township building with some local commissioners, our congressmen, and we're going to be trying to give some assistance to, some advice to 20 families that were flooded out as a result of tropical storm, they call it Lee. Yeah. But I don't have to tell you about the damage that Lee did.
Yeah, it was the greatest amount of flooding that I've seen in my lifetime. It made the 72, 75 floods look like really nothing.
Yeah,
we suffered severely.
Yeah.
Listen, Bill, I want to thank you for stopping by, taking the time. I think it's important that our viewers understand the process and how we get a budget put together. We take input, we listen, we make cuts, we make changes, we vote on it, we send it to the Senate. And guess what? The same process is going on over there before it gets to the governor.
That's
and
right.
Yet doing all that, you're just like every other member. You got to go back home and take care of your constituents back home.
That's the important thing.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bill. Thank you for joining me for this month's V-Clip. As a reminder, I'll be sending an update each month as a way to keep you informed on the issues taking place in Harrisburg and throughout the 106th District. If you have any questions, please contact my office. The contact information appears within this email message. Until next time, I'm John Payne.